Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. And I have another process video for you. Here's the thing. If you can follow along with this process video today, you get a gold star. No, I'm kidding. Kind of, a little bit. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Ta-da! Okay. Have you got your hands on Heidi Swapp's Christmas Storytellers yet? Because this is a really beautiful book. Great, perfect storyteller size, right? Well, she has a class that she is teaching using this album in particular, and you need to take the class. But I had something else I wanted to add to mine. And so ignore the front. I'm actually probably going to be changing the front. It says Merry Christmas. I'm going to make mine a Advent book. That's my idea. But look what I did inside. Ah, look at that. How cute is that? Super cute. It is a little mini album inside a mini album. This is not the first time we've ever done this. It's the first time I've done it inside this book though. So come with me, follow along, and let's have some fun. I'm a big fan of using the ring binders for my December album. So this was not going to hold my December album. This is going to be my Advent book. And now I've kind of decorated the front already. It was used as a sample. So I'm probably going to actually change this up a little bit. But what I really want to share with you are these nested dies and how I'm going to actually put them in this book. Okay, I have been playing with the scrapbook.com nested die set for a while now. There's actually a big holiday parade that a bunch of us put together showing different ways of using these dies. They're just so much fun. I have just been cutting and cutting and cutting to my little heart's content. Okay, but today, let's just get right to it. I want to use this bigger die and create inside my book a little mini album, if you will, for several reasons. Number one, because it's so stinking cute. Number two, I just wanted to play with the idea of an album inside an album. And number three, I'm going to put the schedule of the Advent calendar inside this little book. So let me show you what I have in mind. Okay, to start, I want to have a white cover. So I've grabbed this textured Bazzill cardstock. I'm not going to use the texture on the outside, though, if you can see that texture, if that even is something that's of interest to you. But I'm going to use this side because I want to stamp on the outside of my little mini album. This is a pretty good weight for a cover, especially it's inside of this book. So I'm going to grab that. Then you can see here I have a smallish assortment of the Christmas papers that Heidi just came out with. Notice I have all the B-sides up. Because I didn't want to, well, I don't know. Actually, I think I do want to use this tree one. So let's start by just cutting the album out, the cover out first. Okay, this tree at its widest point is about 6 inches wide. So I cut my cardstock in half so it could fit into my Sizzix machine so I could cut it. Now I'm going to come in here. You could use a scoreboard. You can use your trimmer to do this. Just want to make sure that your trunk is in the middle of is lined up with your score line so that it goes right in the middle. Just going to gently create a score so I can go ahead and fold this. And I've decided to craft this going a couple of different ways. Actually, I want the smooth on the outside so that it can take the stamping a little bit better, because you can stamp on the textured side, it's just not awesome. I'm going to cut one more of these for the inside. Actually, I'm going to cut 2 more of these. Okay, I have my 3 trees. I am not going to bind them quite yet. What I'm going to do next is go ahead and figure out, you have to kind of figure out where your pages are going to be. Now, I do know I want this tree on this side, so I am going to adhere that in place now. Let me make a little bit of room here. Do you do this? You just come inside. It's like a vacuum, right? Everything just gets sucked into the inner vortex of the workspace, and then you're a little crazy. So I'm constantly having to refine my space. Okay, let's make sense here. I want my outside. This is my back piece. This is my very back piece. You're going to see how that works in a minute. I want my outside to be smooth, and I want, this doesn't matter that this is smooth, so I'm going to have it go like this. Okay, and this will make a lot of sense to me here as this comes together. So as you create your own little mini tree album, sketch it out a little bit so that you have an idea of where you want what. And maybe you just want to actually do kind of what I've done, and that's fine. That's what we're here for, just to kind of share some ideas and how to get more use out of papers and tools. So, but I do know that I kind of sketched out my idea. This is going to go there before I started making it. Now, I think I could have gone ahead and cut this in half with my die. Either way works. I have no problem fussy cutting. I don't mind fussy cutting. It's actually kind of an enjoyable little therapeutic sort of creative process for me. Okay, so this is a little bit of a learn as you go little process, and what I did learn with this is that I do think next time, and I think I'm going to do it with the next part of this project, I think next time I do actually want to cut it with the half of the die cut. I think the cuts will be much better. On this side of my little leaf, actually, let's get our, it's going to be on here because I'm going to insert this in here in order to be able to bind it. So on this side, I want to place a picture. I have printed 2 images that I'm going to add to my mini album here. I had to play with the idea for a little bit, but I came to the decision that it needed to be, in order to get this into the die like I wanted, it needs to be 8.5 by, I think I did, no, I did 10 by 3.25. And so that way, I mean, it's kind of wonky. It's not perfect. I just wanted to play with the idea. Do you ever do that? Just, well, let's see how this works. So it's kind of what we're doing here. I'm going to grab this mint tape that's from scrapbook.com. It's a very forgiving tape. So I'm going to be able to adhere it here to my picture. That way, when I run it through my Big Shot, it's not going to move around and not be the picture that I want. So I'm going to go give this a try. Fun. That's just fun. I love having that flower in there. I love having the trees in here. Kind of play with each other a little bit. Oh, that's fun. I will be doing that again. You notice I had to trim a little bit away from it, but that's okay. I'd rather have more than not enough, so that worked out well. Okay, let's continue. Okay, for the inside of here, I wanted to add this pink paper. The thing I decided I'm going to need to do, because I don't think I want to have another piece of paper, and I could have made this one of my pages, but I didn't think that forward. We can't get too complicated here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and then I'll split it down the middle so that I can fit each into the sides here. Okay, I jumped ahead a little bit, and I went ahead and cut out my pink paper. I'm going to leave it in here loose. I thought I was going to adhere it to these pages, but for right now, I'm going to leave it loose. I also jumped ahead and I went ahead and put my other picture in there. Isn't that so pretty? The bokeh with that tree. Oh my word. Sorry, I just get so tickled when something actually turns out. Okay, what I'm going to do here on this pink page, I'm going to just kind of put everything set aside. This is the middle right now for those of you following along at home. I am going to grab the Joyful from this Christmas Words stamp. This is a stamp set that came out in November. and is available at HeidiSwapp.com. I keep saying HeidiSwapp.com. Please ignore that. HeidiSwappShop.com. Okay, and so I think one of my favorite colors to use with this paper collection is Victorian Velvet. I actually get asked pretty often what distress inks I am using with different stamps and whatnot. And this is kind of a wide stamp, and I'm going to joyfully let it go over the page a little bit. And this is just a really pretty kind of tone on tone with the Victorian Velvet and against that pink right there. I like that a lot. Then on here is also the stamp, I think it's on here, Peace on Earth. Let me look here. Peace on Earth. Okay, there we go. Peace on Earth. And I'm going to grab for that, I have my stash up here. Aged Mahogany is going to be used because I'm going to overlap this a little bit. Right here. Trying to make it straight. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, but this is not about perfection. This is about the beauty of what you're trying to put together. Okay, now this is, I'm just going to then come in here. I haven't quite decided how, because I want to have my Advent weeks written right here. So this is kind of for now, maybe. I say that. And here's another stamp set that I really enjoy using. This is from last year, so some of you guys might already have this. I'm going to be using this on the cover, but I think I'm going to bring it in here as well and add it a couple of just, what do we want to call it? Some overstamping. I'm going to overstamp on the edge and just add a few little bows of holly. And so this is one good reason. Oh, and that color combination is so pretty. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to do one more here, maybe two. This is one reason why I didn't want to bind this quite yet, because it just makes it easier for the stamping, and I knew I was going to come in here with some stamping. So let's see how that looks. And then I think I'm going to come up here like that. Okay, almost done here with that, and this page is going to be done. This is not an overly embellished mini album. It has to stay relatively flat because it's inside of another album. So just in case you're wondering why I'm being a little more minimalistic with this, that would be why. I'm loving this happy accident because I wasn't quite planning for this to be on this side, but I really like it. And again, I'm going to grab the Christmas words. I'm going to grab holiday. Okay, just a couple things here as I actually wrap up this little mini album in an album. I have a bunch of stamps out that I'm going to play with here next as I kind of add a few more embellishments to this cover and whatnot. I just want to make a note. There are some wonderful stamp sets that Heidi has put out, and I even have a couple from last year that are back in the shop again. Here is what I did to just kind of mock up my little mini tree. And I just play all the time. You can even see right there. Let's see if it'll come in focus for us. You can even see I crossed out my tradition because I want a different stamp in there. Okay, what's the moral of the story? Just play. Grab your favorite ink colors and grab your favorite stamp block and grab a collection of different stamps and just have an enjoyment and a time of play with no expectations. That's the best way to get to know how to stamp, how to get used to your inks and how they actually ink on the page. Is a great way to know how to, what combinations work with what. I mean, because yeah, great. Take all the examples I do. I see Heidi's all the time. I'm like, so that's just my little point here. I'm going to speed this up as I finish the cover, and then we'll wrap it up. One of the things I thought about doing was doing back-to-back binding. If you're familiar with that, that's when you glue one piece of the paper to the next, and it makes for a great way to bind a book. But I have decided against that because I want my pages to just, I don't want to hide any of those sides. I might come back in here still and add something to that. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and staple these pages in place. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to reach this. I'm going to get a bigger stapler to staple that there. Then once that's stapled, I'm going to come here again with my bone folder. And just, although I know the book's not going to stay closed, I'm just going to try to crease this just as best as I can. Then to add it to the inside of here, I have this back paper. I'm going to add some pretty sturdy double adhesive tape because I don't want it to come off of my book, of course. All right, and then I don't want to go completely in the middle, so I'm going to probably leave myself about an 1/8 inch little space there. And I have all this space here to whether I'm going to stamp or put some title work or a schedule or whatever. I got plenty of room here still to add to the page. I'm just not going to do that right now. And that is just one way to add a little mini album inside an album. And this can go in any direction you want it to. Just have fun and enjoy. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about anything that you saw here today, please ask. I check in every day. And I'm so glad you all are here. And I'll see you in the next video.